I was in a meeting at work, listening to someone from another department give a report. Suddenly, my phone started buzzing with notifications from a high school chat group that had been quiet for ages. I looked at the messages and saw that my old high school class president, Billy, was getting married that day, and apparently everyone from our class was there. I tried to explain that I was busy with work when someone asked why I wasn't there, but that just made things worse in the chat. People started saying I must be doing badly in life since I never posted on social media. Someone even said I was probably too embarrassed about my life to show up. Then Billy joined in and mentioned some bet he'd made about his wife being out of my league. I honestly didn't even remember the bet. Other people in the group started making fun of me. They said Billy's wife was a CEO with a huge amount of money as a dowry. They asked if I was so broke that I couldn't afford a wife or even a wedding gift. Someone even joked about starting a crowdfunding campaign for me. Amid all the messages, Billy tried to act like he was being nice, but he kept making things worse. He said he'd really love for me to come to his wedding to see how happy he was. Then he even offered me a job as a security guard if I showed up. After that, he posted a picture of himself with his bride-to-be. I was shocked. Wasn't that my wife, Sarah? Right after I saw the picture, I got a message from Sarah. She said, "Hey, Mark, I'm visiting my parents today, but I left you some food in the fridge. Just heat it up when you're hungry. Love you." Sarah and I had been married for 3 years. She spent a lot of money, but she always took care of me, even when she was traveling. I used to think it was sweet, but now it just seemed ridiculous. I ended my meeting early and drove to Billy's hometown, using the location he'd posted. From a distance, I could see a big red banner at Billy's family hotel that said, "Congratulations to CEO Sarah on her wedding." Billy, wearing a fancy suit, was standing there, looking excited for the bride to arrive. He was surrounded by our old high school classmates. "Billy, you really had us fooled," one of them said. "Didn't know you were marrying a CEO. You're going to be living the high life now. Don't forget us regular folks." Even our high school teacher was there, praising Billy. "Billy, I always knew you'd do great things." Billy was loving all the attention. After marrying Sarah, she'd wanted to try starting businesses in fashion, beauty, and fitness, but they'd all failed. Then she wanted to start her own company, so I let her manage a small part of my business. Unexpectedly, that had become Billy's big achievement, the reason for all the praise today. As I got closer, my old classmates looked at me with scorn. One of Billy's friends sneered, "Did you rent a Rolls-Royce for this, Mark?" Others joined in, trying to show off. "This car rental must be costing you your whole year's salary," someone said. "You're just here to pretend you're doing well. We can see right through it." I tried to stay calm. Just then, Billy suddenly stepped up to me and punched me in the face. "Your car? This is my wife's car. I've suspected she was seeing someone, but I never thought it was you, you worthless leech." The punch made me stumble. My classmates just stared. "Billy, is it really your wife's car?" someone asked. "No doubt about it," Billy boasted, showing off pictures of him and Sarah in a car that looked exactly like mine. Everyone started whispering. "So it's true. Mark is just being kept by a woman, huh?" Billy glared at me. "Now I know why you never post online. You're living off someone else's success." Others chimed in. "Mark always seemed so honest. Who knew he was living off a woman?" someone said. "I used to think he was a smart student," another added. My classmates' disapproval just made the gossip worse. Even the teacher looked down on me. "Mark, don't say you were my student. I didn't teach anyone to be so immoral." The public shaming drew a bigger crowd. People pointed at me and filmed me. I felt everyone's scorn. I took off my expensive jacket and threw it in the trash. Then I glared at Billy. "You hit me without knowing the truth. You really think you can get away with anything, don't you?" Billy swaggered towards me, full of himself. "What are you going to do? Hit me? So what if there's no law?" he snapped. You show up at my wedding in my wife's car, practically begging for a beating." He turned to the Rolls-Royce behind me, cursing angrily. "I hate mistresses the most. Living off women is even more disgusting." He pulled out a key and scratched big letters into my car. "Mistress Scum." I looked at the words, my voice icy. "You'll realize soon how ironic those words are." Billy got even angrier. "You little punk! Steal my woman, then laugh at me? The thought of you driving my wife's car makes me sick." He picked up a brick from the roadside and smashed it into my car. Windows, lights, hood. He didn't spare anything. "Billy's going to be the head of the family business soon. We can't let him get bullied by someone like Mark," someone from the crowd shouted. Everyone grabbed whatever they could find and started smashing up my car. They didn't just break the windows, they climbed inside and ripped the seats and the inside apart. The once perfect luxury car was now just a pile of junk. I stared at these crazy people, my gaze cold. "Hope you're just as happy when it comes time to pay for this." Ignoring my warning, they kept destroying my car, acting like I wasn't even there. Suddenly, one of Billy's friends opened the trunk and yelled, "Look at all the stuff he's got back here!" Billy walked up, pulled out a painting, and sneered, "A low-life gigolo collecting art to pretend he's classy." I stepped forward, warning them, "These are worth more than the car, especially that piece." These were auction items I hadn't had time to display. Billy sneered and kept tearing everything apart. "These paintings in the hands of scum like you are an insult. You're not worthy of any of this." He ripped a masterpiece into pieces and stomped on it. Then someone yelled, "That looks like a real chibicher. It started at $3 billion at the auction." Billy arrogantly replied, "So what? It's all my wife's money. Her money is mine. I can destroy my stuff if I want to." I was speechless with anger. Not to mention that Sarah spent money like crazy and often messed up her businesses. The company's value had even gone down a lot under her management because she wasn't very good at it. If she weren't my wife, she probably would have been fired a long time ago. Yet Billy and these classmates saw her as this amazing CEO, admiring her like she was the best thing ever. With Billy leading, the other classmates started ripping into the stuff from my trunk. Watching them all, I quietly took out my phone to find my location and call for help. But before I could say anything, one of Billy's lackeys snatched my phone and threw it on the ground, smashing it. "Calling for backup? Who do you think you are, surrounded by your sugar mommies? Seriously, man, you're so fake," they said, laughing loudly. They didn't stop making fun of me. Looking at my broken phone, I said coldly, "Hope you're this happy later." Billy grabbed me by the collar. "You nothing threatening us?" He noticed the jade pendant necklace around my neck and yanked it off. "Another thing bought with my wife's money." When I saw that, my face changed. "Give the necklace back," I demanded. Seeing my reaction, Billy laughed. "Oh, this must be precious." I was desperate. "It's not about the money, it's important to me." This jade pendant was a talisman. My mom had begged for it with her life. I was a very sick child and almost died when I was 5. My mom wouldn't give up on me. She went to the temple, crawling on her knees up the mountain in the hot sun, all bloody and hurt, to get this pendant. I miraculously got better, but my mom became very ill. She gave me the pendant with her last wish. Keep it safe. I had treasured it all my life. It was my mom's memory and something very important to me. I couldn't let anyone damage it. But Billy didn't care. He smashed it to the ground, and it broke into pieces, scattering across the dirt. Watching that moment, my heart broke. "You monster!" I hissed, unable to hold back. I punched Billy hard, filled with rage. I was about to punch him again when someone kicked me. Then the whole group jumped on me, kicking and punching me. "You think you can hit Billy? He's the CEO's husband. All over a necklace you got from being a gigolo? Get over it, you lowlife!" Even the teacher kicked me a couple of times. I was left shaking on the ground, My teeth clenched. "You'll regret this," I said through gritted teeth. Their laughter mocked me, like I'd said the funniest thing ever. Everyone burst out laughing. "You still think you're in high school? Think you're a top student so you're better than us? Yeah, right. Being good at studying is useless. You're nothing but society's trash now, earning money by kissing up to women. And you threaten us? If you're living off a woman, you gotta own it. If you're gonna get hit, stand up straight, you shameless loser. Trying to steal a woman from an old classmate? Aren't you embarrassed? If I were you, I'd be ashamed enough to die." Those people held me down, taunting and humiliating me without caring. The crowd just criticized me and even spat at me. Billy, feeling supported by the crowd, stepped on my face arrogantly. "Regret? Yeah, right. I've never regretted anything in my life, and I'm waiting to see how you loser will make me regret it." As soon as he finished speaking, dozens of luxury cars sped up and stopped in front of everyone. Then, men in suits quickly and in an orderly way stepped out of their cars. The sudden scene made the noisy crowd go silent. Immediately, those classmates holding me down slowly let go, stood up straight, and looked over. Even Billy lifted his foot, his eyes fixed on the line of luxury cars. While everyone watched, a man in a suit walked to the first car and respectfully opened the door. Then Sarah, wearing a high-fashion wedding dress, slowly stepped out. She had a slender figure, smooth curly hair, a beautiful appearance, and a noble presence, instantly attracting everyone's attention. "Is that CEO Sarah?" someone whispered. "Yeah, that's her. No wonder she's the famous Ice Queen CEO, even arriving at her wedding in such style. Look, the trunks are open, full of cash for the dowry. Wow, beautiful, rich, and generous. No wonder Mark is her boy toy. Billy's really lucky, huh? Marrying this top-tier woman. I can't even dream about it." Amid everyone's admiring exclamations, Billy smugly took Sarah's hand. "Honey, you're so beautiful. Marrying you is my good fortune from a past life." Sarah smiled. "You're just sweet-talking me." Seeing this, those old classmates rushed up to try and get Sarah's attention. "Sarah, hi. I run a small ad company. If your company needs ads, could you consider us? Here's my card." "Sarah, this is our company's new product, free for you to try. If you like it, we'd love your feedback." "Sarah, hi. I've been Billy's desk mate for 3 years, and I've admired you for a long time. Does your company have any openings? I'm willing to learn anything." Suddenly, all the old classmates tried their best to get in front of Sarah, recommending themselves in any way they could. Watching my old classmates bow and scrape in front of Sarah, Billy's smile grew even wider. This feeling of superiority really satisfied him. Sarah just had her assistant accept everything, seemingly used to it. Then Billy's mom approached, smiling at Sarah. "Dear daughter-in-law, finally you're here. We can't wait to have you in the family. Come, let's quickly go into the hotel and finish the wedding. All the relatives are waiting." Sarah nodded and was about to go inside with Billy when suddenly sirens came closer rapidly. Police officers quickly got out of their cars, sternly saying, "Don't move. We got a report about trouble and an assault here." The police's arrival instantly killed the happy mood. The old classmates panicked. Some didn't even dare to lift their heads, scared of trouble. Sarah was a bit puzzled, glancing at Billy. "What's going on? Why are the police here?" A guilty look flashed in Billy's eyes, and he mumbled, "My classmates said they disciplined a gigolo for me, so they taught him a lesson." Hearing this, an unnatural look crossed Sarah's face. "Gigolo? You know you're the only one in my heart. Why would I have someone on the side?" Billy pressed his lips, looking innocent. "All right, maybe I made a mistake. But even if he's not your kept man, he's someone who messed up my wedding. It's right for everyone to deal with him." The old classmates instantly agreed, shamelessly. Right. That guy always competed with Billy in high school. Never could stand Billy doing better. Billy was nice enough to invite him to the wedding. And then he came to mess around. Yeah, back in school, he always targeted Billy. Everyone just couldn't stand him anymore. Their goal was to earn Billy's favor today, so they spared no effort to belittle me and praise Billy. Billy's mom also tried to persuade Sarah. Dear daughter-in-law, my son values this wedding so much. If that loser caused trouble, it would embarrass you. After listening, Sarah nodded slightly. If it was someone picking on Billy, a lesson was appropriate. Seeing Sarah's approval, Billy felt confident. He straightened up, faced the police, and righteously said, "Officers, there was someone disrupting my wedding first. We had no choice but to act." The policeman frowned and stated, "For the specifics, everyone needs to return to the station for investigation." The old classmates who had beaten me looked flustered again. However, Billy remained unafraid. "I'm not going. Today's my wedding day. I won't go to the station." Then he looked at Sarah. "Honey, you're the CEO of a big company. Your connections are endless. Help me out here, please." The others also looked to Sarah for help. "Yeah, Sarah, someone as important as you, the police should listen to you. Today's your big day with Billy. If everyone goes to the station, it's embarrassing for you." "Exactly. Your company is one of the top in the state. A word from you can settle this." Billy's mom added, "Dear daughter-in-law, today is a big day for you and my son. We've got so many friends and family watching. We can't be embarrassed now, can we?" Faced with everyone's anxious looks, Sarah stood tall, confronting the police confidently. "Officer, I'm Sarah, the CEO. I know your department heads. Can you let this slide?" The cop hesitated for a moment, then spoke firmly. "You can't just hit people in public, no matter who you know. It's not up to me to decide if we drop it, unless the victim forgives you and doesn't press charges." Sarah smirked, confident. "Simple. I doubt anyone would dare go against me, Sarah." She then turned to Billy. "Where's the person you hit?" Billy quickly guided Sarah through the crowd and pointed at me, lying on the ground. "Honey, it's this guy." I was a mess, dirty clothes, disheveled hair. Sarah didn't even recognize me. She glanced at my injuries dismissively, sneering. "You're the one who bullied Billy back in school, right? I'm Billy's wife. You've already been taught a lesson, so I won't hold a grudge. Today's my wedding day with Billy, and I won't allow any disruptions. You're barely scraped up. I'll give you compensation later to settle this. You don't have any objections, right?" Sarah's words were nonchalant, her tone full of superiority, like speaking to me was a big favor. I had no reason to refuse, but I didn't reply, just scoffed. Sarah frowned slightly. "What? Not satisfied?" She paused for a moment, then added, "Whatever. Since it's my happy day, I won't fuss too much. If you have any issues in the future, you can come to my office. I'll sort it out for you. Is that enough?" She looked down at me disdainfully, like I was the one begging for handouts. Billy was clearly annoyed, saying, "We didn't kill you. Be grateful. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. If we weren't old classmates, you'd be getting nothing." Our other classmates joined in, jealous and bitter. "Right. You think you're still that star student from high school? Sarah offering you this is your luck. Stop pretending and get up to thank her." They figured I was secretly pleased with Sarah's offer, like it was my biggest achievement. With everyone piling on, Sarah got impatient, saying, "Out of respect for Billy, I've been more than fair. Don't push it. If you ruin my wedding, I won't be so kind." Under her threat, I braved the pain, slowly standing up to face her. "Sarah, you've got quite the swagger," I remarked. The first time I'd met Sarah was on a rainy night. I was driving home, and with the rain and darkness, visibility was terrible. She appeared out of nowhere, and I hit the brakes hard but still knocked her over. I was frozen, quickly getting out to help her to the hospital, but she staggered up, saying it was fine, and left without looking back. Watching her limp away into the night was unforgettable. I felt drawn to her and did everything I could to find out about her. I discovered she worked at my dad's company. It felt like fate, so I joined his company as an intern the next day. When she saw me at the office, she was clearly surprised. I then found out she was a new intern too, always wearing big glasses, dressing plainly, and acting politely. Her gaze was innocent, giving off a naive vibe, but she worked hard, telling everyone she'd endured hardship growing up and only had persistence to rely on. She was the office's most diligent intern, always working intensely. Her dedication moved me, and I pulled some strings to get her a permanent position. She was over the moon, glowing with joy. After that, she threw herself into her work even more. I admired her tenacity. We gradually grew close. I realized the seemingly simple Sarah had a charmingly playful side, always ready to share her breakfast with me if I'd skipped mine, bring me hot water and medicine when I had a stomachache, and tell jokes to cheer me up. Being with her was always a relaxing experience. Even in silence, her presence was comforting. Then our friendship crossed a line. One day at a coffee shop, I was in line when the woman ahead accused me of groping her. The whole cafe stared at me with judgment. I defended myself, but no one believed me. The security footage didn't catch the critical moment due to the camera angle. Everybody seemed so self-righteous. They said they were going to take me to the police station. Just when I couldn't defend myself, Sarah suddenly stepped up with her phone. She said she had been recording and taking selfies, and in the background, she'd captured the whole incident. The video showed I never touched that woman. Afterwards, that woman fled, feeling ashamed. Everyone who had accused me started apologizing. In that moment, I looked at Sarah, and suddenly she glowed with this captivating aura. I couldn't look away. Later, I confessed my feelings to her. She gladly accepted, and that's how we started dating. During the relationship, I always acted like a regular guy. I took her to movies, we strolled around town, visited parks, and explored amusement parks. Life was simple and happy. Later on, I introduced Sarah to my dad. The moment she found out I was the son of the richest man, Sarah got nervous and uneasy. My dad didn't look down on her rural background. He clearly expressed that he didn't care about social status because no family was richer than ours. He only had one requirement: that she must wholeheartedly love me. Sarah swore that she'd love only me for life. She even suggested a prenuptial agreement, saying if she ever cheated on me, she'd leave without a penny. Her pure love deeply moved me. After we married, Sarah was always good to me, gentle and attentive, taking care of me in every way she could. To support her dreams, I did everything to assist her, even entrusted the company to her. I just wanted her to be happy. Even though the company didn't do well under her management, I never blamed her. I was content as long as we could live well together, as long as she loved me wholeheartedly. That's all that mattered. For years, I was immersed in the character Sarah portrayed, full of deep love. I once thought I had found true love. Thinking back now, I just feel it's all ironic and laughable. The moment Sarah made eye contact with me, her face went white as a sheet, and she froze completely. Her expression turned to shock and terror. Before Sarah could speak, Billy interrupted. "Mark, who are you to call my wife by her full name?" Our old classmates angrily chimed in. "Yeah, don't think just 'cause Sarah wants to make it up to you, you can act recklessly. Without Billy, you're nothing to Sarah." Exactly. Someone like you is lucky to even see Sarah. You think being Billy's old classmate gives you free rein? Standing amidst everyone's insults and belittling, I felt nothing. But Sarah's face only got worse. I looked at Sarah with a teasing smirk and casually asked, "Sarah, did you hear that? They say I don't deserve to call you by your name. What do you think?" My offhand question almost made Sarah collapse. Her lips trembled as she was about to speak, but Billy jumped in. "You worthless thing! How dare you talk to my wife like that? Think I won't beat you up again today?" Billy marched up to me, raising his fist, but Sarah was quicker. She pushed him away. Billy stumbled back, looking incredulously at Sarah. "Why'd you push me, babe? Do you feel sorry for this loser? Or is he really someone you've been keeping on the side?" The place erupted in chaos. Our old classmates stared wide-eyed at Sarah and me. "No way. Mark is really Sarah's kept man?" "Seems like it. Otherwise, why would Sarah protect him?" "Just another guy. He can't compare to Billy, her legitimate husband." "True, Sarah's just holding Billy back because the cops are here, trying to protect Billy that way." Billy stepped forward, grabbing Sarah's hand. "Even if he's your kept man, why stop me from hitting him? I'm going to be your husband anyway." Billy sounded full of resentment. Sarah shook off Billy's hand angrily. "Get lost!" Billy stood there baffled, staring at the fierce woman he didn't recognize. He really couldn't believe the woman he loved with all his heart could have such a harsh side. Sarah wasn't concerned about Billy's feelings. She was anxious for herself. She grasped my sleeve gently, swaying like a child who'd made a mistake. She carefully said to me, "Darling, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me this once." Sarah tried to act spoiled and charming as usual, hoping I'd be moved, like always. I looked at her expressionlessly, disappointed. "Sarah, before the marriage, you promised me once that you'd love me and only me forever. But look where we are now." I pointed at Billy and went on. "You say you love me, but you're out there marrying someone else? No wonder I used to just run into you on the street, and you'd leave without a word. No wonder you conveniently showed up at coffee shops to help me out, and told me not to worry about that woman's accusations, saying she just misunderstood. And no wonder when I brought you home, and you found out who I really was, you didn't even flinch. Now that I think about it, you've probably had your eye on me all along. That car accident back then, was that your calculated way to get close to me? Or what? You knew my family situation, so you did everything you could to grab my attention, using me as a stepping stone while living it up on my dime. Sarah, you really played your cards well. I was so into the love and attention you gave me that I never doubted you. But it turns out all those touching moments were your carefully laid plans. It's laughable. I thought I'd found true love. I treated you as the most important person in my life. Honey, I truly love you." Sarah kept pulling on me, looking scared and genuinely worried about losing me. Billy still seemed super confused and asked Sarah, "What are you doing? Sarah, you're a CEO. Even if he is your husband, you don't need to bow down so low. Why are you trying to please him like that?" Sarah, red-eyed and angry, glared at Billy and shouted, "Because everything I have is thanks to him." The moment she said that, a bunch of luxury black sedans suddenly pulled up by the curb. A group of suited bodyguards in sunglasses got out, all in an orderly fashion, heading straight for me. They bowed respectfully. "Lewis!" Their voices were loud and echoing, leaving everyone stunned. Everyone in the area, dumb or not, could tell that I was someone important. It finally hit them how badly they'd messed up. I gave them a cold look and told the police officer, "Officer, these people slandered and attacked me in public and broke a fortune's worth of my stuff. I'm not taking this lightly. Handle this seriously, will you?" "Okay," nodded the police officer, quickly taking everyone involved to the station. Before leaving, he advised me to bring all my receipts for the damages and my injury reports to the station for a full assessment. I went to the hospital to treat my wounds and get the necessary reports, then headed to the police station with all the paperwork. In the station, my former classmates, who had been acting all high and mighty, now looked downright miserable. They had been sucking up to Billy because they feared Sarah, a CEO, assuming Billy was the family's future owner. But the guy they were sucking up to was someone they'd always looked down on, while I was the big deal they tried to bully. It was like they'd swallowed a fly, disgusting and unbearable. Every one of them stared at Billy like he was dead meat. Billy, by now, was a totally broken man. The biggest blow of his life wasn't just about facing massive compensation. Worse was how he'd always claimed he hated cheaters. But it turned out he was the one having the affair all along. The wedding became a joke, and he was the laughingstock. He couldn't handle it. The police checked my files, tallying up the damages Billy and the others had done to over $960 million in value. Everyone went pale at that. They couldn't believe it. "How could he have this much money?" one said. "Officers, don't get fooled by him," said another. "Yeah, we went to high school together. He was always so low-key, never looked like he came from money," a third chimed in. "This is fishy," they all agreed. "Such cash has to be dirty." The cops snorted. "We checked already. He's the son of a billionaire. You can't even imagine his worth. Just because he keeps a low profile doesn't mean he's a target for your nonsense." Silenced by the cops' words, they were speechless. "You guys did enough damage to land in prison for life. Maybe use that energy to think about repaying instead of doubting someone's wealth. He's clear. No deals with you lot. $960 million. For everyone there, it was an impossible amount. They couldn't pay, so they tried to play the victim." "Come on, we're all classmates. You're loaded anyway, why drag us down?" one protested. "Yeah, it was all a misunderstanding. Let it go, why put us on the spot?" another pleaded. "It's just a car and some collection pieces. You won't fuss over such a small issue, right?" They were trying to sound righteous, continuing to diminish the damage as if $960 million was just pocket change. I could tell they thought since I was unharmed and wealthy, I should just take the loss and forget it. I just laughed bitterly, saying, "Now we are classmates? Why didn't that matter when you attacked me? You sure acted all high and mighty while destroying stuff, didn't you? What do you mean by telling me not to fuss with you now? You can break stuff, but you can't pay for it." Back in high school, I always kept a low profile and focused on my studies. I never went out of my way to cause trouble, but Billy always seemed to pick on me, said I was pretending to be superior or wasn't a team player. He'd even bring a whole crowd to bully me. At those times, your group would hype things up. I bit my tongue to avoid trouble, stayed out of your way whenever I could. Didn't think my backing down would make you bolder. Today you beat me up without hesitation. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll keep pushing around the weak. When they saw I wasn't backing down, my old classmates panicked. They didn't dare to confront me, so they turned on Billy. "This is all your fault, you useless jerk. You started all this with your big mouth." "Yeah, you're the one who mooches off others, then drags us into it. And you going around saying you're the heir to a major company, really? Because of you, we had to suck up. Now you pay for it yourself. It's got nothing to do with us." "Exactly. You're to blame. That $960 million, you cover it yourself. Don't think we're pitching in." Billy got furious and didn't hold back. "You guys are such jerks. And you dare blame me? Ever since high school, you pushed me to bully people. You guys kept encouraging me to latch onto the rich, thought I was going to be some big-shot heir, so y'all sucked up. But now you turn your backs? You're all a bunch of low-lifers, won't amount to much. Today, none of you are getting away." Billy was going head-to-head, arguing with them. They almost got into a brawl before the cops stepped in. After all that arguing, they tried to weasel out again, saying they didn't break anything. It was others who did. Some claimed they weren't involved in the fighting. The police showed surveillance footage, and they all shut up. Couldn't say a word. Each had to pay back what they owed. Some scrambled, sold everything, begged to pay up, and left in defeat. Others got slapped with divorce papers or cut off by friends and family, couldn't get a cent, and were locked up. Billy went all out in this mess, so he owed the most. Faced with enormous debt, he turned to Sarah. "Sarah, help me out for old time's sake. I couldn't pay this back even if I sold myself." Tears streamed down his face as he pleaded. Sarah's heart softened. After some hesitation, she turned to me and begged, "Honey, we don't need to push this far. For the years we've been married, can you cut him some slack?" I looked at her coldly. "Give you face, Sarah? Do you still think you have any left with me? I'm sick to think of all those years I was fooled by you. Divorce papers are ready. From today, we're done with that." I walked off without looking back. So, Billy, and those who couldn't pay, wound up in jail? Even my old high school teacher got investigated. Sarah walked away with nothing as per the prenuptial agreement. Later, I heard Billy got into fights in prison and ended up disabled. Those involved got their sentences lengthened. Complaints echoed in prison. Meanwhile, I entered a peaceful, single life. After being part of a couple for so long, it felt strange but free. 3 years passed, and on a morning run I saw a man with a crazed look chasing a woman with a belt, yelling, "You woman cheating on me! I'll kill you today!" The woman, missing a shoe, ran without looking back. I recognized her. It was Sarah. Apparently caught in another affair. Guess it's true either 0 times or countless ones.